The guys are playing OPR. I get tons of rules questions. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the warbossfitz channel. Today, we're going to be doing a little bit of painting thing. I have been doing some Retman clans for Grimdark Future lately, and I have been really loving, come on, focus, really loving this rust. I'll get better pictures in a minute. Really loving this rust. And I've been showing it off, and people have been asking me, hey, have you made a video on how to do rust? And I was like, you know what? I haven't. So that's what this is. I'm going to show you a couple of different ways on how you could do rust. A couple different ways that I've done it. We're going to go from most complicated to least complicated, and honestly, the last one feels like cheating. So here is that rust that I have been doing for the Retman clans. So, let's go ahead and hop right into how to do some rust stuff. Fleet Admirals, Generals, your reinforcements have arrived. At PrintedStarships.com, you will find high-quality 3D printed starships and sci-fi armies ready for deployment. Whether you're commanding fleets in Star Wars or Armada, dogfighting in X-Wing, battling in one-page rules war fleets, or leading ground forces in Grimdark Future, we've got the precision-crafted models you need to seize victory. Use code warbossfitz for 15% off your order. That's PrintedStarships.com. Prepare to take command of the tabletop. First, we need a test subject. There we go. Now, all the stuff I've been going to be using today is this guy right here. A good old classic 2nd edition push fit Marine. And then I have sprayed all of these plate mail silver from Army Painter. I was going to do them black and then paint on the metallics, but then I saw I had this can. I'm like, I'm going to cheat. So here we go. We're going to start with this. And for this, we are going to use some model color. Now, we're going to use 3 different colors. We are going to put it on with sponges. Now, for this, my sponges here, these are a couch cushion that I've been ripping parts off of for like the last 10 years. So, if you ever need a lot of sponges for painting, find an old couch in the dumpster, take out the guts. Let's get to painting. Now, to start off with, we are going to use black red for the deepest part of the rust. And just dab it in. Normally, for the next coast, we're going to take a little bit off, but for here, we're just going to smash this in as our bottom coat for the rust. Smash it in everywhere. So not only is this giving us the color, it's also kind of giving us the texture too. All right, we'll let that dry for like 30 seconds. Next, we go for the orange color. We're going to be using Amaranth Red. We haven't cleaned out our palette yet. We're just going to add it right to the top. Like that. Amaranth Red, it's kind of like an orange. So this is like our mid-tone rust. This we're going to kind of dab her around a bit. You just want to keep on knocking in the color. There we go. And when you use old couch cushions, you get some hairs. So there's our second color. And then finally, for our top coat, we are going to be using some medium flesh tone. It gives us a little bit of yellow for that added little pop on the rust. Once again, add it right to the palette. Now this, we just want to dab it in very few spots here. Now we're going to let this dry. So here it is all dried out. We are going to use some plate mail metal, and we're just going to give this a dry brush. All right, it gives us a pretty good rust effect. Yeah. Next victim. Ta-da! It's another one. Now we're going to be going into the Army Painter War Paint Fanatic range here. This is the old Army Painter War Paints, but they're specific, dark, and fresh, and dry rust. I think they just got rid of this here, so it's going to be these two. I think it is almost exactly the fresh rust, yeah. So we just get rid of that. We'll just use these two. So we're going to do different this time. This time we are going to be using a brush. And whenever I use a brush, I like to dilute things down a little bit. And when I dilute things down, I use Flow Aid additive. Just it gives it a little bit more stability in the palette. I can keep it going for longer, especially when I'm painting like 50 or 100 models. I don't got to worry about all the paint drying out in the palette. And we're going to let this run a little bit. So we're going to give that a little mixy mix. And then we're going to use a brush that's probably far too large for it. We are going to jam her in there. Again, this is also building texture. All right, we got all over rust there. It just looks like a muddy mess right now, but we're going to take some fresh rust. We're going to put that in the palette, kind of over in this corner, clean our brush off a bit, and now we're just going to kind of mix them together here for like a mid-tone. Give that a little bit of dabs everywhere here. Now we're going to take a separate brush. We're going to take just the fresh rust. We're going to try to dry brush over top of the already soaked model. All right, it looks like crap, but we're going to let that dry. Here, this one is mostly dried out. Again, we're going to do a little bit of a dry brush on it. Well, it wasn't all the way dry, but there we go. That's a good all-over rust. All right, next victim. We got another one, and this time we're going to be doing something a little different. We have an oxide paint and a rust activator. So I got to shake the crap out of this guy. Or throw it across the room. All right, there we go. Now, I know these brands don't match up, but they kind of do the same thing here. And again, we are going to take our larger brush, and this one we're going to take it right out of the pot. And this is chunky because this is quite literally just iron oxide in a stabilizing liquid. So when we put it on the first time, it's going to look just like metal. Kind of like a dull metallic paint, just because the pigments they're not pigments, they're just actual iron pieces. And they don't all like to lay the same direction like a normal metallic paint would. Alright, here we go. So, you let this dry long enough just to clear out your brush. Then we use this guy here, the rust activator. And then we quite literally just slap this right over the top of it. It's going to wick away a lot of our stuff we've already put on there. But now we let that dry and see what we get with our activation. Then we have our third guy here. It's not really a yellow or an orange rust you get out of this one. It is a more of like a corroded look. You can see the spots where we didn't rub it all the way off. You can see that it's starting to creep up the corners here. And that will continue. We've let it dry for maybe 20 minutes, but you can see it is starting to activate now. We'll set it in the background. See what she does from here. This one is more science and random than technique. So we'll see what it does. So here we go. It's been about 20 minutes and our activator has definitely activated. Still got some wet spots going on in there, but you can see that it is giving us legit rust right over top of the, it's converting the iron oxide that's in that pigment into rust. Ta-da! Next victim. Ta-da! Now we're going to be using Vallejo model washes. We have rust, and then we have light rust. Ta-da! So these, they go a lot further than everything else. So we're going to use our tiny palette. So put them over here. You are going to get rusted. So we're going to start off with the darker rust. Alright, now before we go to the lighter rust, we're going to let this dry. So here we have our one that we did with the washes. Now we're going to take our little sponge. I'm going to rub it off a bit here. This one is more rusting for the edges. Rusting in the creases. There we go. We got some good rusty creases there. Now we're going to go ahead and go through with the... Oh, that's the old one. We're going to go through with the light rust on there and give her another coat. There we go. It's kind of a, like I said, it's kind of a panel lining rust. The rust in the creases. You can also combine the techniques. Like here's the first one we did with the sponges. We can take some of this light rust here, and then we can use it to beat down some of these colors. They're just a little striking. Beat down some of the dry brushing we put on there. There we go. I have a feeling that is going to look a little bit better than just the sponging. You know, you could use like a Agrax Earthshade to take this into an even darker tone, but I think that'll do good for us here. We're going to see what it looks like when it's dried. Finally, last victim, and probably the one that you all have been, waiting for. Bing, dirty down. So this, you want to make sure that you shake the bejesus out of it. And then you just got to use a little bit. Come on. There we go. That is far too much for a single model. That'd probably be a whole squad worth. And what we do is we add some water to it. Then give her a mixy mix. This stuff is very thick. And then we just proceed to this point. To get some good variation on this, you want to have some of the spots just kind of built up a bit. All right, we'll let that dry for about 5 minutes. So here is the dirty down, probably after about 15 minutes of drying. You see we got these nice little pockets of yellow in there. We still got some wet spots in here, but we should be fine. You guys can see what it does here. You can see that nice little, looks like artificial pitting on the shoulder there, pitting on the helmet. This stuff, this is like cheating. This stuff here is just amazing. And if you really want to push it, you just take your metal color of choice and you give her a little dry brush. There we go. Give back some of those metallics to make this look even dirtier. All the different techniques I've shown off today are different types of rust. Like this one here might be the very beginning of rust in the corners, and this one is broader corrosion, and here we have a really like thick dry rust like you'd see on like iron girders. This one, a little bit more dynamic with the rust. And then the dirty down is just probably going to be the best overall rust. And you can see just as we've let it dry some more, it's giving us some more colors on it. So I think that is pretty darn cool. Now, dirty down is not something you're going to want to use if you want to do like a whole army, because dirty down is rather expensive. I think that little jug I have was about, I think I got it for like 25 bucks for this much paint. And I don't think that would make it through an entire army. Your mileage may vary. With all the different rusty armies I've done, I'm surprised I hadn't done this video sooner. So this is my different type of rust tutorial. I hope you guys liked what you saw. I hope I gave you a little bit of inspiration and just shown you how easy it is to do some of the rust effects. Remember to like and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more of this, or you want to see us playing some OPR games. We're going to be starting up our showcase videos where we go over a different army every week, and we're going to be starting with the Prime Brothers. Hope to catch you there. Thanks for stopping by. I'll catch you later.